I have my hat. I'm back. 2 minutes late. I was trying to find my, get my head screwed back on, you know. I don't know what I'm talking about. But there was a discussion earlier on the biddies forum. You know, the biddies panel there. You know, to really get inside Forrest Fenn's head, pretty much kind of got to be a guy to know what guys think, you know. It's like if it was a woman that hid the treasure, us guys wouldn't have a clue what they were talking about, you know. Hey, Thor girl. Oh, where's my... So, you know, they keep bringing up, well, he never said it was, he didn't bring up Colorado and all that until later on. It wasn't part of the initial thrill of the chase, you know? Yeah, my cover is just coming apart. This thing's heavily used. So, you know, they're saying, when did he throw in Colorado and all that, and Wyoming and Montana? Well, there are several places in here that are in the Rocky Mountains north of Santa Fe, not New Mexico. I mean, talking about Yellowstone and Wyoming and Montana, and he does mention the bracelet came from Mesa Verde. The beads in the bracelet came from Mesa Verde. That's in Colorado. It's a subtle hint. He didn't say Colorado, but he mentioned things that were in Colorado. And there's stuff up in Yellowstone and Montana in the book, like on the cover, him with the fish there. You know, probably this is. I don't know if that's New Mexico or it's in the Lewis and Clark chapter, so didn't find in Lewis and Clark. So you know, and the finding Lewis and Clark, that's about crossing the Continental Divide and stuff like that. New Mexico's not really known for the Continental Divide a whole lot, you know, but the mountains up in Colorado and the Divide Trail and all that comes through here and goes up through Wyoming and Montana. There's a Continental Divide up in Wyoming's in the Red Desert, and that's he excluded that area. If you're looking in the Red Desert, you're wrong. He excluded the Red Desert. I'm taking this off. Woo, unmasking. Where'd my hat go? Oh, it's echoing. I hear myself echoing back in there. And the solution to the area where the treasure is has the memories of those places up in Montana, has the memories of the art in New Mexico, it has memories from Texas, it has memories from Vietnam there. The helicopters are there, the karst and all that play into it. It's a substitute for, because he says a couple times in here, find a substitute, talks about getting substitutes and stuff. And substitute, subtle, S-U-B-T, subtle is a substitute. So they kind of come from the same kind of word. But like I found pictures from up in north of the Colorado border, pictures north of the Colorado border on page 34 44, 46, 56, 58, 61, 62, 64, 66, 68, 120, 122, 23, 124 on the cover and inside the covers, in stuff inside the covers. There are pictures of things that are north of the Colorado-New Mexico border. And he never excluded Colorado. You know, he hadn't excluded New Mexico. He's excluded most of New Mexico because it's maybe near New Mexico, which would be southern Colorado is near New Mexico. When I went down for the Jamie drawing, I left. I think I left up here. I left my search area at 7 a.m. I was there for the drawing. I stayed in the afternoon, and I was back at 10 p.m. You know, it's no problem. You know, I went down there, and I probably spent more time down there in Santa Fe than he spent stashing the treasure. Are in the thrill chase. Why talk about them? In their search areas were important. Well, you got to find a substitute for Lewis and Clark is the thing. Anything he directly mentions, it is only a hint to the substitute for that. Just like he talks about the books, important literature. Forget the literature. It's the movies with those titles. So he knew about each of them from seeing the movies. And one of the movies, or several of the movies, and the Catcher in the Rye on Broadway or something, had Gary Cooper in it. Gary Cooper was in A Farewell to Arms, and he was in For Whom the Bell Tolls. Those were all had Gary Cooper in it, and he was from Helena, Montana. And you don't think he spent some time around West Yellowstone? I know Ernest Hemingway spent some time in West Yellowstone. Oh, man. I'd fear you move if you... Right up. Don't worry, I'm not... I have no intention of searching up in Yellowstone and stuff. Yellowstone probably might only be there in 10,000 years. It might not be there in 1,000 years. That thing might be a big old hole in the earth. That treasure under 2,000 feet of who knows what, you know? Yeah, he said earthquakes might be a problem, but he didn't think volcanoes would be a problem. But earthquakes might be a problem. So it could be in a rock cliff, in a little, they have little notches, pockets. That's why he's got hands in his pockets. Look in the pockets and stuff. And I got this picture I had of, and it's like I look at the picture and I go, God, I gotta climb back up there and look at that again, because there's, you know, it looks like he's got the box on his lap, and the thing's the size of the box. You know, he could have experimented with, maybe knew where he was going to put it, brought home a sample of the rock that from where he wanted to put it, that he had to match his mixture of even plaster of Paris or something. You know what? Before they take a dinosaur bone out, they cover it with plaster of Paris and stuff, and they encase it so that it can't fall apart and stuff. You know, well, he could have experimented with some coloring and had all his coloring and all that to to get there, cover it with a plaster coat that blends in with the surrounding landscape. So this one image, it's like that could be the box. It could be, So you just got to see if it's feels like plaster of Paris instead of the other rock that's around it. Because it probably looks a lot the same, but the texture is probably different. um, I hadn't gone this week. I had like $55 in the bank, and WordPress.com goes up, beep, auto pay, annual auto pay, $48. Boom, left me $5 in there, and you got to leave that there to keep the account open. Um, so I was like, I had enough money I filled up my gas can. My propane tanks were both full, and filled up 2 water bottles. So now I'm waiting for Saturday, and I won something on eBay that I got to pay for, and because they did that to me, my money wasn't there to pay for the thing I was going to, which was only half of what they stolen from me. I got these beer steins, one with elephants on it. Well, they had lots of. They all wanted about $25 for the elephant beer stein, right? I found one that came with the whole set. Came with the elephant, the jaguar, and an eagle beer. So I got elephant, jaguar, and eagle beer steins for $25. Let me see. That was a good deal. I thought. So I was only wanting the elephant one, but the eagle one's nice too. Maybe I'll take the puma one, put some treasures in it, and leave it somewhere out in the woods. Yeah, yeah. So it was like $9.50 for all 3 of them, when other places were trying to sell just the one for $15 and $12 ship. So I got all 3 of them with shipping for less than one of them. So I could actually just post the other 2 back up for sale and double my money back and keep the elephant one. But I like eagles too, so because my great grandfather went to the Civil War with the eagle, and he played the fife. And the eagle loved to hear Yankee Doodle. So this is a Civil War fife, I guess, and it still works. This is louder than that ceramic thing up there, but yeah, I've had this for 15 years or so. I just keep it in my pencil jar. Is this nickel plated tin or something? Got a seam on it. They say it's a Civil War fight. It has the eagle and all that on it. But yeah, I wish I had my great grandfather's fife. The eagle loved to hear Yankee Doodle. Play me a tune. I don't know how to play it. I'd have to learn something first. I ain't gonna say. I did a solo on the violin for the PTA, and let's see, 1966. Yeah, 1966. I played violin. I don't know why that didn't continue. I guess maybe my parents needed the money and had to sell the violin. I guess I don't know, but or they didn't have the music class the next year. Something like that. Bagpipe, bagpipe, or is that what you're trying to say? Bagpipe. Yeah, there's places involved in the solve that represent Vietnam and Texas. The schoolhouse, him sleeping at his desk is there. Um, the Buffalo Cowboys car is there, or it's not there. It's here now. Nobody's gonna take because that is brave and in the wood. He had to be a brave little. What do they call them? Tykes? No, tykes are younger. Maybe better not call him a tyke at 12, right? And then he has that one scrapbook with the car. That relates to the Buffalo Cowboy car, and that's the same car that's in the picture. The one that's in the scrapbook. Was one chapter at the beginning. Something. This one. That's the same car that's in the scrapbook. This one here. The toy car from the scrapbook. It's on page 30. 31 is an important page. That's my birthday. The Fenns in 1935. That's the year my mother was born. See, so the 31st in March 1935. That's the year that's my mother's birthday, and the year. Is there a 3 on there somewhere? No, there's 6 cats. The chair probably only had 3 legs on it after he was done. That's a cow pulled it out from under him. And that's why when where the double blazes symbol is in the rock, there's the if you turn the double blazes upside down, you have cow udders. Those are the cow udders. And so when see this, come on, stop shaking hand. So when he pulled the stool out from under him, right, he flipped over upside down, and so the double blazes turned into the cow udders. And when I take a picture of that rock formation, you see the cow udders and the cats all around it. And his airplane's right there. It's all there. And partly, I believe, when he says ring the bell loudly, he's wanting whoever finds all this stuff to do it like I'm doing and tell about it all. And because nobody's going to believe you. Nobody's going to believe you, And then when it's all over, because it ends at the end of his life. That's when the chase ends. 'Cause I don't think he wants it to go beyond that, because then he's not in control and he doesn't want anybody bothering his family. So it's shortly after he passes, it'll come out in his will, whatever. It's like when my grandmother's sister passed away. I got a call from a lawyer, or from a family, whoever was handling her will, and I didn't want. She left me like $300, here's your part, $300. It's like, I would have liked to have seen some pictures and stuff too, you know? Yeah, and not just, hey, we sold everything and this is what's left. I mean, there were probably pictures of my dad and uncles and all that when they were young and stuff. And sometimes people splitting up estates don't think about splitting up the pictures and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, Forrest, before you leave the earth, you might want to spend some time getting duplicates of all those pictures and things, so nobody fights over them. Yeah, if you're near the end of it, make the copies and leave a pad, here's your pictures. Don't But it's like my little brother took all when my parents died. He took, any picture he was in. If I was in it, he got that, and I didn't get a copy, And so most of the pictures had all of us in it, and so. But my little brother, he figured he owns all those, and he couldn't take the time to scan. Everything I had, I scanned, and I gave them copies, and yeah, when some. If you're getting ready to leave the earth, divide or make multiple copies of your pictures so your children don't get greedy on them and leave somebody out of getting some of those memories, because it was like a banana box full of pictures. And I got like a dozen. Oh, there you go. Okay, yeah, it's a good idea. And anymore, I watch his storage shows, and like the guy finds a big pile of cash. You don't want to. He's like, told everybody on YouTube how much money was in there. Yeah. Yeah. My little brother, and then my little brother, I haven't talked to him for 10 years because I didn't like Obama. Because I didn't like Obama, so my little brother he hadn't talked to me for 10 years. He turned his whole family against me. I was the devil, But, Buffalo Bill. Yeah. There was, what was that other one? The Beatles song. Rocky Raccoon. Yeah. Back in, I remember listening to that when I was a kid. My sister had all the Beatles albums. Yeah. I was evil. I was an asshole and everything because I didn't care for Obama. And he'd probably he'll be going to prison for a long time now, soon. There's still a reason to be like that. Yeah. He turned his whole family. I was trying to get my disability. His son worked Social Security, and he was plotting on making sure I couldn't get mine. When he works, it's because I don't like Obama. I'm going to make sure you don't get your Social Security, and that's why I just boom, your family's cut off, man. I'm not having anything to do with you if you can stab me in the back with a knife and whatever, Yeah, I really promoted that kid. He got straight A's until he was a junior, and then he flunked out because of friends, you know. Oh, 221. Ah, is that what he was talking about? Ah, okay. Is that? I got to see 221. I saw. I think I saw 220. That was earlier today. 221. Ah, because when I looked it up, the guy told me I thought SB was Senate bill. You know, I thought I was looking up a Senate bill. I looked up something and came up with something else about the person I was talking to. When you're on air, full bill. 218 was interesting. What that was with the toy car. I unsubscribed to scrapbooks. Yeah, yeah. The biddies, they brought up something that was these could be what he was intending on putting in a fourth book, and he's decided not to do the book, and he's pulling. He said he wants to pull back and rest. You know, it's like I try and only email maybe once a month. You know, and but a couple times there's been a back and forth, just a couple, you know, but emails from Forrest, and he says he just if he was still in the art business, that he would like to handle my art. So that's a compliment, and that says that he sees something. He sees something in it. Here's my space shuttle shirt. It says NASA on the bottom. NASA. So what's he talking about? F-86D. When he learned to fly a charter, Peggy in his house in Mexico Beach. Oh, rented a house in Gulf of Mexico. Immediately behind our place was a freshwater lake that hadn't a mind of its own. The freshwater lake behind our place had a mind of its own. It was fed by a small streamlet of water that was barely big enough to get you wet. But over time, it dumped through enough water, the lake filled up. There was a problem. The tide came in every day and moved enough sand to dam up the outlet that allowed the spill water from the lake into the Gulf. So the lake just kept filling up and filling up. Something had to give, and eventually the lake overfilled and breached the sandy dam. Water rushed out for a day or two and drained the lake. Then the process was ready to start all over again. That took place not far from where we lived. Okay. So yeah, it's got bust, and then it grows again, bust. And so he's talking about the effects of, geography, and the river changes course and things like that. So, I was looking at, and there are places where the river used to go here, you can see that omega shaped horseshoe, where the river used to be. There would be muddy bottoms there and warm water halts at the bottom, where you put your feet in the warm mud. It's like when you go to Pagosa, you go to the hot springs, Pagosa Springs, they got some pools that are right on the river, and there's sand in the bottom. And if you put your feet down in the sand, you'll burn your feet because it's so hot down in the sand that the water hadn't come and mixed with the river and cooled off. That's where warm water halts, where it gets hot at the bottom. Outside, I'm loving your hair, bro. After day. So it's sticking up in the back. That'll look like Steve McQueen, man. There were some actors people said I've looked like, were like Nick Nolte. When I was younger, yeah. When he was younger and I was younger. But he took it kind of different path. One time some tourists walked up to the beach, past our house, and picked up on some of my seashells that that had washed up overnight. I just watched, trying to contain myself. How dare those guys do that without my permission and in broad sunlight? So there he's talking about people picking up his seashell collection that he had, gone and collected. And imagine people trying to pick up his treasure that he's not finished coveting. It's his until the end. And I said, man, it's going to sweat in here. It's 22 degrees outside. Turn that heater off. I got the generator running, so I got the electric heater on under my desk. It gets Togo's attention. Now he slept right through it. He was talking earlier. It's similar to last year's. Five eyes and a horse named Marvel Gaze. I was looking at Jack, and he's got that stripe up his nose, straight up his head, and if my son hadn't already named him Jack, I probably would have named him Blaze. My son had already named him when I got him. So, coincidentally, the lake had reached its total fill, and the tourists were almost out of sight. It was my turn. I took a stick and drew a line several inches deep, about 50 feet long, and spanned from the lake water downhill side to sandy beach. As gravity worked its magic, fresh water pushed the sand down my man-made gutter toward the salt water to the Gulf. So we know what happens. Erosion takes place and that thing empties out. At first it was a dribble, then it turned into a trickle. that turned into a flow, and before long it was a manic river 40 feet wide, 4 feet deep. I wondered just if the sheriff would come and get me. Yeah. He didn't. When the tourists returned, I could imagine if they were like floating on the lake when he did that, and it took them all out to sea, that you could have embellished a little more there, Forrest. Tourists returned. They couldn't figure out where the river came from all of a sudden. After their bewilderment subsided, the backtracked and cut up the road. It was the only way they could get back to where they started several hours before. See, there's back to where he started. I was just talking about the Tao. The first to go far is to return to where you started, and he's talking about that again, and that's what he was talking about in the Searching for Lewis and Clark. If we keep going, we're going to end up where we started, or where we're going, and where you're going is where you started. So what he did is he made it's this big round trip, and all these things are along the way somewhat. But there's several where warm waters. But there's a place where a lot of them all where it's really congested with his memories on the canyon walls. Yeah. But you see, Lewis and Clark is a modern story of this ancient story where people traveled from the Atlantic to the Pacific, except they didn't use the Missouri and the Snake River. They used the Rio Grande and the San Juan and the Colorado River to cross the Southwest Passage. The heavy loads were the elephants carrying the boats and the people over the mountain from the takeout to the put-in, where they took them out of the river, transported them over the mountain, put them back in the river to continue their journey west or east, whichever way they were going. There's the put-in is also a takeout. The takeout is also a put-in. In it, when you're talking about a carry, when you're carrying something over a mountain to cross the divide, that's how the order it goes. You take out and then you put back in on the other side. It's not you put in and you put in a raft and you taking the raft out again. No, you already took the raft out or the boat out. You carried it over the mountain, and that may be why he said Terry. Oh, let's get the hell out of there. Don't tarry. Don't hang out long. It really means carry it a little bit. It's another too far to walk, kind of. Reputation. Yeah, and I figure I don't have to use the two flame, because they kind of outlawed the two flames on YouTube because YouTube got word from somebody that meant two middle fingers, and so YouTube took the flames off of the comments. Isn't that? I think they did that for Toby, because I made it so that little flames mean middle fingers now, and it's offensive. Yeah, can't use those. But instead of the two flames, like I said, Forrest Fenn, that's two F words. So FF. Yeah, oh, it's there? Huh. I thought it was gone. It won't show up on mine. Somebody must have hacked mine. Yeah, that's a double blazes symbol. But you can also use FF if there's no flames there. Yeah. As it says right in the back of the book, that my father's and now I feel that my father is sitting on the edge of a cloud somewhere watching. If he knows everything about me, he's pretty busy lighting candles, some of them at both ends. But I hope he knows that I've been sometimes guilty only in it by innuendo, and that's why my epitaph with such wrote my epitaph with such profundity. I wish I could have lived to do the things I was attributed to. He was attributed to hiding a treasure too, right? Did he actually hide it? There's he saying right there, maybe I didn't really do it, but he's seeing if he can, who he can fool, because the real trove, it says in the poem, my trove for all to seek, and nowhere, he'd never called that treasure chest a trove, his trove. He's never called I don't think get him to call the treasure chest a trove, and then maybe not. But I don't recall him ever saying that the treasure chest was a trove or referred to it as a trove. The poem says trove, but you're assuming that's a treasure. And see, you're assuming that it's Yellowstone. Thor girl in the poem. Thor girl isn't in the poem. And he prayed for D's, and each of these last four lines end with a D. D, 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 D. The Buffalo Cowboys car was found in the D of the word wood. And I'm not kidding either. Trove is inalienable. And give. The title to the gold is like the prize. That's the prize. If you've been wise and found, if you're brave and in the wood, then I give you titles to if you're brave and in the wood, I give you titles to the gold. Well, show me a 12-year-old, any 12-year-old that lassos, throws a rope around the horns of an adult buffalo and runs and gets in the car, has got brass balls. He's pretty damn brave. And being as I found that car with the bullet was his car was called the Bullet, and the Buffalo Cowboys car in the book has the bullet hole in it that's photoshopped onto it, and those are two different cars in the book. You can tell that where the cowl bends over the side, one comes down further than the other, curves and drops down a little further than the other one. Probably a bigger gas tank on that one. But they're two different cars, and they're only representative of a Model A or Model B Ford, and that's a rusty red Ford sitting out there in that meadow since the 40s. It's a rusty red Ford. Trove is for legal purposes, I think. The poem is somewhat. It's kind of his will, somewhat. But he's got a secret will filed in a safe somewhere with a lawyer or whatever, and nobody has a legal right to see it until after he's passed away. And lawyers sign an oath of secrecy. He says he secreted the treasure. It's a secret. And if you know his secret, then you're a threat to him. He already said, you threatening me. My tea is 10. A canvas is a canvas until the artist signs it. Yeah. Yeah, I was just looking at different art things like I could do with my some of my pictures. There's a clear acrylic stuff or whatever that you can if it's printed on photo paper, you can paint this clear over the strokes that are in and it'll give it the picture texture. So I've got to try that on some. Might end up doing it on the big poster ones and get a lot more money for them. But yeah, the will comes out in the end of the poem. It's hidden in the top of the poem. As I gone alone in there, and what's in there? The word will is hidden in there. There will be no paddle up your creek. There's no hope up your creek. Yeah. Yeah. If you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down your quest to cease. Because if you found the blaze, you're the omnipotent guru. And you've done it, basically. But, and I had the brave and in the wood part before I found what I think Moses is the blaze. He's actually Thoth, but a lot of people would recognize him more as Moses. It looks like Fenn's Moses. Locations. Yeah, they're all along, except for the Buffalo Cowboy car. I had to hike about half a mile and cross a creek to get to the wood. And why did he leave the W out? Because it wasn't, the W was up by the road. The W of the word wood was too close to the road. The O's and the D's were on an old 1920s road that isn't there anymore. There's more of a trail. There are trees growing in the road. That's how old it is. And the car was up the hill from the road in the 300-foot meadow with belly-high grass. Omega to omega. Yeah, beginning to end, alpha to omega. But I found symbols as alpha, omega, 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 omega. Like the cat has 9 lives, And I found this whole wall of arch structures that are built blocks around arches with figures inside the arches, and each of those arches are an omega. He felt like the architect, and I mentioned Gary Cooper is from Helena, Montana. Was in A Farewell to Arms, Catcher in the Rye. He was in For Whom the Bell Tolls. The Catcher in the Rye thing was a play in Broadway. It wasn't a movie, but he was in all of those important literature books. The movies all starred Gary Cooper. Was in all of them, and he was in Sergeant York, and there was the V symbol with the little dot and the star in the middle. Well, that's Sergeant York's target, because he was a guru too. He it's and it's tying all these. It's the Matrix. It's deciphering the Matrix. because each hint, each thing in the book has and how close is this related to that? And a lot of people don't understand supernatural stuff. I have to watch those. And I learned about the treasure hunt um, when I was just starting to get into this supernatural way of programming your future and all that. And I had a visit from I had a visit from they're like leprechauns. They called themselves elfins. They were real friendly. They were going to help me. And then I've learned about the treasure hunt, and I can figure that. And I was in Florida, and I had a plan, but I was going to be up in May to start searching in New Mexico, and I wasn't there very long. And I mean, this forest is kind of dry. Persons, yes, they're supernatural. Everything's supernatural. It's just like Jiminy Cricket or Ring Around the Rosie, Life is but a dream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Or Jiminy Cricket, and when you wish upon a star, all your dreams will come true. All that stuff, And that's why the people that hurry up and go get it, hurry up and go get it. And every time I'm going to go and get it. Right now I don't have gas money to go until Saturday. And it's freezing cold and snowing and all that this week. So I even had a little snow today and a blizzard, and I got my wind generator crapped out a little just over a week ago. That's another reason I'm broke. I had bought a new wind generator so I wouldn't have to run the gas generator at night. Is that what? Because like you can get the one I had that was working was $100, but it only lasts about a year because it takes a beating, and the winds here, it's like hurricane strength. The one I got to replace it was $140 after tax and all that BS, and I put it up, and then I had to wait 2 days for the wind to pick up to see if it worked, and it looked like it was working great during the day, but I run it through the same controller as my solar panel, so I don't know, it doesn't divide up how much power from either one. And after the sun went down and the wind was still 35 miles an hour, my controller told me I was getting 0 amps from this. It's like, God damn it. Chinese junk. It should be a crime for them to sell that stuff on eBay. eBay needs like a UL tested, and what is the true wattage of this device at what speeds, and they like design it and put it out there, and they don't even test it to see if it works. What they do is they say 400 watt charge controller, but it's not a 400 watt wind generator, So I'd be better off taking them fins off and putting them on a GM alternator, and maybe even put like ducting, like vortex, like channeled wind into the fins, from around it. Have little walls that if it's coming from out, so that it always, yeah. So that I have some designs. I could make a kick-ass wind generator after after I looked at that, and yeah, I could do it all, and the only moving part would be the fins. the there'd be no other motor parts moving, or you'd only have to have bearings on the fins, and because what I do is they got all these wires going up in there, and then they got magnets, permanent magnets, and the wired part sits there still while the magnets are spinning around it, right? Well, what I'd do is well, I'm not going to tell my secret of how I would make an excellent wind generator. If somebody's in the invention business, I can design an excellent wind generator. Because I was watching this show about, they said how the vertical axis ones, the ideal one would have a rotor going in each direction, one going one way and another going the other way, to cancel out the gyroscopic effects, or you got to have a canceling gyro thing going, and I know how to do it with them both going around, and all the no wire collar or anything. And I could even have the magnets could even have a power source to make them stronger. Because I'd put little solar panels on the fins to charge to power the magnets. Yeah, pretty much. Well, about the only thing you might have to replace the fin, because if they got these. I had one working up on the roof with an alternator, and I made it with 5-gallon buckets, and man, that thing would. I couldn't believe how fast that was going, but it was a little wobbly because I needed something stronger than a 5-gallon bucket, But it's all trial and error. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I was watching on Third Phase of Moon. They had a video yesterday, and they had the guy in Russia who he's got a device. It's it's powered remotely, so he's got wires going to the device to power it, because putting the batteries in would probably make it too heavy. But he's got like a little motor with a CD. Compact disc size disc with a motor spinning it, and then there's a plate above that motor, and then there's another motor with more magnets on a disc on the top part. And when he powers it up, I don't know if he's doing something with the speed controls of each motor or what, but he powers it up, and this thing floats off the ground with these opposing magnets spinning in there. And then he puts like the magicians and the floating girl, puts the loop over it and shows it, there's no strings pulling it up from the top. And he flies it outside and all that stuff. There are ways with and yeah, I can make a kick-ass. And I've always had an interest in magnets, so I think I'm going to get me a block of magnets and play around with some perpetual motion. One of the things that came with the wind generator was this flashlight, and you can see inside there's no batteries, and there's a little switch. This little switch here, you pull it back, and then this comes out, and then you can see it. And it's got a little dynamo in there, you just keep squeezing it. And so this is going in my backpack for when I go searching, because the batteries, you don't have to worry. It's always It doesn't have any batteries, and you always got a light. Batteries in my hand. You can see inside. There's no battery in there. This thing goes and turns a little gear here. It turns another gear and turns this dynamo. There might be a little tiny battery somewhere in there, but it recharges by pumping the handle. And you know, when your batteries are all dead, especially like in a cave, you'd be yeah. So, but I mean, it's good to have. A lot of times you're out there, yeah. They gave me that with the wind generator, and I just sent them a message today about their wind generator doesn't put out any. Says it's a 400-watt generator, and I can't get 14 watts out of it. Um, if it puts out, it's supposed to put out 14 and a half volts to charge a 12-volt battery, and it it puts out 10 and a half volts. It's not even enough. I mean, my inverter's shut off at 10 when it's that low, 11 volts. So, um, I got my generator running now. You can hear that. Could clip it on yourself with a carabiner too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got carabiners around my backpack, hanging on so I can hang things on there. And usually got my camera around my neck, but I gotta look at some of those spots I found again. Um, so I was reading this scrapbook, and I came to that part where it's come back around, cut up the road. It was the only way they could get back to where they started several hours before. Ah, and so they went up one way and couldn't go back, had come back another way. So like if you went up the pass and there was an avalanche behind you, you couldn't go back that way. You'd have to continue, you know. That's and what those people had to go around the other way. The two main clues in the book. The Buffalo Cowboys car. He says, think about when I was 12. You know, and the praying for D's, the wood, leaving the W out of wood is ud, like Udward. he Edward. He'd leave the W out of Edward, huh? Eddard left the W out. Leave the W out of wood. Ud. Yeah, Eddard has the W left out. Like he wants you to leave the W out of the wood. Don't. It's not in the W. It's in the D. The D is at the other end of the wood. The deep end. Cooper? Oh. Yeah. And people bring up DB Cooper. Well, DB Cooper's just another Cooper. My cancer doctor's a Cooper too. Cooper. Do, 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 do. Yeah, even that song, the Ritz, putting on the Ritz. Gary Cooper, super duper. Taos equals toes. No, Taos is Tao. Tao. Teaching Tao. You know, he was down there in Southeast Asia, and you know he you know they had to know some of the local language, some basic stuff. Tao is something down there, and Tao, Tao, like religious Tao, the book of Tao, the teachings of Tao, which is Te Ching. Without the A, take the A out of teaching. Yeah, that's what yeah, they made it so the best you can get is a B. And why is there no E for a grade? He prayed for D's. Yeah, so yeah, my original was about the question of, you know, what brought in the other states besides New Mexico. You know, tea was all good. Yeah, legal tea. It was legalities. There are legalities. Before you reach the end of your rainbow, you hire a lawyer and you write a will. Some people write their own will. It's probably a good idea to have a lawyer for some of it, because you might try and do something on your own that's not legal. John Legend won't stop singing in my head. Oh, John. Oh, yeah? Huh. Thinking about a different Johnny. The Wolfman Jack thing. Yeah, Johnny didn't come home. Leader of the pack. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of, the song Leader of the Pack. There's a lot of I got a friend from Taos, and there's a lot of crime in Taos. There's a lot of bodies in the creek, and I mean, there's the native cops. They have enough trouble with their own. They don't need anybody else going in there. And there are, what was it? Tom Hardy or somebody was telling me they were down there near Dulce, and it's a lot of reservation down there, and the cops follow you, and they're just waiting for you to park and go walk off the road. You've broken the law. So don't even think about looking on reservations, man. I mean, even when I was surprised when we went to see the waterfall, that the waterfall down there. Tuskegee or whatever, and and you had to pay the Indians $10, and you had to stay on the trail, and you know, they watched everybody. They got cameras there to watch you while you're there. Uh, you know, so I've never, you know, it wasn't like that when I had to go work on computers at the Forest Service up in agency in Montana, the Crow Agency. And I had to go to Lame Deer is where I was. I was in Lame Deer. I said, what kind of name is Lame Deer? and yeah, I had to change a hard drive on a computer there. That's terrible. Barn is right. What barn? The church, they killed all those natives and turned into a parking lot. Redwood barn. No, the red has to do with rust. The Red Ford, Miss Ford. The Miss Ford is the car. The Buffalo Cowboys car is Miss Ford. He was named his parachute, so I'm sure he probably named that the Buffalo is Miss Ford. Maybe I just been calling it the wrong thing for Forrest to recognize it. I got Miss Ford in my shed. She's a bit rusty. The Red Sea part is like, that's the Colorado flag, the Red Sea. What's her name? The other Christie came up with that. She's right. And I saw caper. Oh, we don't block people. Yeah, we're gonna have Bill Gorman. Oh, we're not gonna have Bill Gorman on twice. They, though, and the second time was twice in one. You know, I had 3 different times I was gonna, and I was pushed out right at the end. Oh, we got Susie running the show here now. You know. and I'll pull him. Oh, let's pull for octopus. Well, nobody pulls for me. You know, he should have never been used a rude, disgusting name, or you know, octopus dicks. That's you know, it's dumb. And I was reading a story. Somebody posted a meme about these in Oregon. They found these 3 hunters at their camp, you know, all laying there dead. They didn't know what happened. You know, they couldn't figure out what happened, and turned out there was a salamander in their coffee pot, and the salamander's neurotoxins were 10,000 times stronger than cyanide. so I guess they went and got some water from the creek or whatever. The salamander got into their coffee pot. They boiled the salamander in their coffee and drank the neurotoxins. Man. There's going to be... What do you think of the ladies' panel? The biddies panel. Forrest said, don't let... you know, girl think isn't... Forrest Fenn doesn't girl think. Forrest Fenn man thinks. You know, um, girls think, baking cookies. He's thinking, what's it say? What's it say in there? You know, reading things on pottery shards and stuff. And I was having to take. I'm gonna make with these flat things. They're kind of dry, clay rock or whatever. But yeah, a whole lot of them. They're real thin and flat. And so if you're going to make some little wood frame like ashtray thing, and then glue all the rocks all around it, and then mortar it, kind of seal it, and make like ashtray for the hell of it, just to play around. Sign the bottom. And somebody brings that to Antiques Roadshow in 100 years. Oh, that's a Gorman. I talked about my subject was I don't really have a lot to talk about, because I haven't been searching. Finished my antibiotics and feel better now. So whatever had my sinuses, maybe it was, got something else, but I feel somewhat better. Got doctor appointments next week, and the week after, and the month after. I try to get leave. I want to get out of here. I want to go find someplace warm for winter. Oh, Thor Girl's baking cookies. Yeah, I think I'd better go visit Thor Girl. Have some cookies. Yesterday it was candy, Nikolai. You didn't get it. There's this song. Yeah. Arizona for the views. Yeah, I have a doctor appointment in Denver December 17th. So I don't know how I'm gonna. What time is that? At 8 a.m. So I got to go up there on the 16th, probably get a room and all that stuff for my doctor appointment. Yeah, I was gonna do some baking myself. Cookie do. Yeah, the ones you buy in Denver. I know the kind of cookies you like, Captain Marvel. Kryptonite cookies, right? Oatmeal raisin. Oh yeah, I love those. Oatmeal raisin cookies are the best. And German chocolate cake. Electric lettuce cookies. Okay. All right. I think I'm done now. Plain old chocolate chip. Yeah. Yeah, it all make me hungry, and and WordPress took my last. They left me $5 in the bank when they did the auto pay. So I can't go get cookies or Rocky Road, or I like butter pecan. Butter pecan. Oh, no, what? Yeah, pie and the ice cream. Um, one of my first job, I worked at Marie Callender's and I made pies. So, yeah, that was a long time after Forrest Fenn was getting his nickel pies. They weren't a nickel when I worked at Marie Callender's. Started out as a busboy and went to work, and then they put me as a dishwasher. So I was a busboy, and at the end of the night, I was the dishwasher. Yeah. Yeah. You know the things that people work in a restaurant see that the customers never see. uh, and one time, there was you know, they got the cabinet underneath the salad bar where they have more salad dressings and stuff like that stored down there. Open it up, open it up, and there was a freaking mouse floating in the Russian dressing. Yeah, that one got poured out. Mouse drowned in the Russian dressing. Yeah, that was you know, that can happen in any restaurant, and that was 1973 because I was 15. I was 15. I worked at Marie Callender's and I worked for a friend uh, doing janitorial service at night, and we went around to all the doggy diners in the East Bay, uh, cleaning the bathrooms and at the doggy diners, cleaning the bathrooms and the floors and stuff in the middle of the night while they were at their lowest. And doggy diner is where they used to tell, you know, everybody that's where you got horse meat. and, and to work, you know, I was 15 working overnight in Oakland. What kind of bakers or something like that? And the Hills cream jam so and the customer. Yeah, I like them with lots in them. I went with a friend once who's his father owned a donut shop, and we went in the truck. And we picked up all the donuts at the donut shop and went and delivered carts of donuts to different stores, trays of donuts, and you know, to convenience stores, and it's kind of like they make the newspaper round, like the newspaper truck. It was we had a bread truck, newspaper truck, and we delivered donuts. I mean, thanks. I need a shot. I got it. That apple the schnapps is still back there. I haven't touched it, but yeah, I'm about done. That was an hour and a half. Hey, oh, I'll tell you. I'll read you my friend, one fan, the judge. He said he's gonna watch later. He probably won't watch the whole thing because he's resting for work. Uh, what do you say? Oh, I didn't find it. He says to me, I find that your evidence is clear and convincing. Verdict for the mammoth, and that's an order. So, that's pretty cool. Krispy Kreme. I got sent to, I was doing tech service calls. Like most time it was fixing flat screen TVs or computers, laptops, and desktop computer, changing monitors on the screens on laptops and keyboards and hard drives and um, the fusers for printers and stuff at banks and social, government offices and stuff. I'd just get a service call and I'd bet on it and take it. But I forget where I was going. I was talking about one of them service calls that did that was unusual. um, yeah, well, and I've got even machines at hospitals that dispense medications. They have these automated machines, and I'd go fix those and. Or I had to go to several J.D. Edwards offices and remove the satellite dishes. And I was supposed to haul the stuff out of there, and I was able to take any of the scrap metal and I take it to the scrap metal yard and keep the money from the scrap metal and stuff. And something I did up in, got a call up in Montana. I had so many calls, but I had calls in Yellowstone. Had to go change an LCD screen on some park ranger's laptop, and had some in Cody, Wyoming. And I'd stay at the Super 8. And went over to me, but that was like 2007. That's when my pictures from Yellowstone are from 2007 and stuff. That's how I knew where that rock Skippy's leaning on is and all that. From pictures I took in 2007. I wasn't up there searching. And let's see. Yeah, I'm done. I'm all right. My brain's all spilled out. Wow, man, that did a lot. It just scrolled a bunch. Bird, me too. That's all I got. Yes. Sometime. Yo, take me with. Where are we going? Yeah, I gotta go. I got a plan for that trip. When I go up there for that doctor appointment, if I'm going up to Denver and getting a room, then I might as well get up there early the day before and have a day of doing stuff day before and have part of that day after my appointment and head back afternoon. But his doctor appointment, I've been waiting 2 years for him to get me to an endocrinologist. Bears will kill you. No mess with the bears, Goldilocks. What? What now? Wow. Let's still leave their den. Yeah, they're in their dens. No, they're probably not yet. Who knows? Well, they got 30 inches of snow, I heard, so far. That little heater under there is not keeping up with the outside. I got the other heater. I could wait until next spring. I can get some searching in. There's some spots I can get to. I have some areas that are in the woods, and it'll be the snow doesn't melt there till spring, but there are lots of places that are on the south side of a hill, um, with the sun. So these little storms, I can search. I should be able to search into November. I was searching in December, January, into January of 2018. I was searching, and it didn't start snowing until the middle of January. But every year is a little different. But there's still some spots that I can get to. Sometimes you gotta go across a little snow to get to the clearing, but Gardner is the next street over. I'm between Gardner and Sanford. Yeah, you slip on it and it could be hiding it. But I know a lot of people that we're gonna come search with you. Look, and they're like, I might make it there in January. It's like I ain't searching. I'm middle of December. I'll after that doctor appointment, if I can. I don't know if I can even do that because I got to go once a month to have my blood checked. You know, and they drain. I don't know if I can get some type of travel. You know, arrange with the doctor. Tell her, hey, I need a thing to so I can get my phlebotomies. You know, down here in Arizona for 2 or 3 months. And then where I'm going down there, you can only camp there 2 weeks and you got to move along. It's like hardly worth going there, you know. You can't keep moving. I'm tired of moving and moving. I'm trying to figure out what I can do to get well and septic and electricity here so that I could, and then I might be able to get a loan to get a mobile home put here. The water is only 60 feet down. Doug Melching come out here and drill me a well. He's in Michigan. Yeah, the Trove is where everybody keeps thinking. See, they're all thinking about the treasure that they're looking for, this bronze box, and it's his memories that are his trove. And if the blaze is Moses, and that Leo Salazar showed him, it's all part of his story, you know. All of his stories are in the mountains there. That's a long time. I don't know. Yeah, Mount Blanket right behind. I was showing pictures just the other day, and there's no snow on it. It's 14,000 foot mountain right on my backyard, and nothing. But over my search area is like rainforest dump like hell. There's so much snow here, we put a ski area in, you know. So let me sign off now. Bye bye. Have a good night. Oh, there's some stuff I missed, but yeah. Okay. See you, Thor Girl. See you, Captain Marvel. And everybody, CMC. I used to know. I lived next. I lived in a warehouse like building, above the office on the loft in the back, and next door was always loud music and stuff, and there'd be girls in costumes stand outside sweating and come outside to cool off because it was so hot inside and stuff, whatever. And, and my sister, oh yeah, that was MC Hammer's studio. So I lived next door to MC Hammer's studio when he was recording the do 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 do. Can't touch this. Can't touch this. He was right next door. Yeah, he lived in. He had a big house in Fremont. We'd always walk by his house going up the climb up the mountain there. Yeah. Yeah, I lived next door to MC Hammer. I was born in Oakland too. So all right. Have a good one. I'm wearing my camo pajama pants, man. Later.